Everybody, welcome to episode 2 of The Shining. I really can't believe that we're actually on episode 2, not gonna lie to you. After the first one, it took a good bit out of me. I was actually kind of nervous. But that's okay, that's nor here nor there. I once again have my lucky $2 cup. And something to hold my phone. So something weird really happened last week. So the day that I went to go drop my video, there was a really bad storm and I couldn't get it to upload. So hours and hours went by, the video wouldn't upload. I was like, fine, so I went to bed. So I woke up the next day, it uploaded, cool deal. Well, halfway through the day, I was at work and I look and it was Stephen King's birthday. I freaked out, which means my channel has the same birth date as Stephen King. That's great. And anybody who doesn't know me knows that I eat, sleep, and breathe Stephen King. I mean, books are there, movies are everywhere else. I love Stephen King. So, I thought, why not do my top 10 favorite Stephen King movies that are horror? I thought I'd do a different episode for the non-horror Stephen King movies, just because he has so many movies. I'm not trying to do that mess. I tried to intertwine them together when I was picking out the 10. Not going to happen. So, I say we just dive right into it, and we'll start with number 10. Because I have them right beside me, so I don't have to move too much. Let me set down my cup. Creepshow. Okay, I love Creepshow. It's not really a movie, it's multiple miniature movies. Now, some of the more seasoned viewers probably remember this. It took me forever to find, okay? I live in Virginia, so it's very hard to find some Stephen King stuff down here. So I actually found this at the Goodwill. Yeah, I love Goodwill. That's where I find half my stuff. And I loved it. It was great. It's very, very, very 80s feeling, super, super retro, but it's really, really fun. And, like, you can watch it with your kids, too. A lot of Stephen King stuff isn't, like, too scary not to watch with your kids, so I recommend watching it with your kids. It's really fun. I mean, it's not jump scares or anything like that, and it's by Stephen King and George Romero, and you obviously have to love George Romero. So, I recommend. Now, there's a sequel, and there's a third one on Shudder, I believe, but you can't go wrong with the original, just saying. The next one is, you can't really see it because I'm awful and don't have the just single copy. Christine. Okay, I love John Carpenter. I love Stephen King. And it's a car that kills people. Everything in my life that just seems great in one movie. It really is a good movie. I actually watched it on Netflix. I didn't even know it existed, so I watched it and I was like, we'll give it a whirl. Loved it. Instantly fell in love with that movie. So, I highly suggest Christine. Now, you have to understand that Stephen King is a really big car enthusiast. I mean, Misery, we talked about the Mustang. Christine, duh. So, I mean, it's kind of a pattern. You know, you have Maximum Overdrive, which is a Stephen King movie that he actually did. I've never seen it. I don't really want to. Sorry. Car movies are Christine's literally the only one that I'm like, okay, this is a good movie. So, Christine is a go. I don't really have to say much. It's a great movie. But I do have an unpopular opinion about Carrie. I actually really enjoyed the remake too. To each their own. Of course, the original was always going to be the best. But you can't be picky. I'm just saying I like both, but I'm not going to say that I like it as much as I like the original, because that's just not true. And I was unaware of this. There's actually another Carrie movie between the original and the more modern remake. I don't remember what year. I want to say 2011, but I'm pretty sure that's wrong. And apparently there was a version of Carrie that came out around 2002, and I didn't even know. It's on Netflix, though. I saw it on Netflix, so if y'all want to check it out and leave it in the comments and tell me how it is, so maybe I can give it a watch, just let me know, because I didn't even know it existed. Okay, this movie that I'm about to show you is one that I just got this week. I have spent probably the last 3 or 4 years trying to find this movie, and I've had zero luck. I actually read, my first Stephen King book that I read is Needful Things. It was a really big book. I don't even know why I got myself into that mess, but I did. So I read the book, a couple years had went by, and I saw that there was a movie, and I didn't know, and it had, has Mr. Ed Harris in there. And then this dude, Max von Sydow? I've seen him in other things. I don't remember what I've seen him in, but he was awesome in this movie. If you have not seen this movie, please, please, please go buy it and watch it. It is so good. It's not cheesy. It is it flows beautifully. And if you read the book, you can definitely put the pieces together. I mean, the acting is great. The effects are great. I really, really, really loved this movie. And I've only seen it one time. So if I've seen a movie one time and it makes it in a top 10 of something, it's definitely worth it. So, please. Alrighty. This one is actually a very, very recent Stephen King movie that was released, I would say right before the pandemic really, really hit. But that would be Dr. Sleep. Now, if you don't keep up with Stephen King books, you are probably not going to know that this is actually the sequel to The Shining. So, if you like The Shining, please watch Dr. Sleep. I've probably watched it 10 times already. I mean, it's really, really good. I really enjoy it. It's a fun movie to watch. Now, here's where it gets in, because you have The Shining, which is Stephen King, but it's not really Stephen King. Hence as to why it's Stanley Kubrick's The Shining, not Stephen King's The Shining. This, however, is Stephen King's Dr. Sleep. But do not go into this movie thinking that it is like the book. It has already been stated that they had to do some things in this movie to help rewrite what had happened in Stanley Kubrick's The Shining. So, in a way, Mike Flanagan, the one who did this masterpiece, he actually has done several Stephen King adaptations. Multiple of them are on Netflix. Gerald's Game is one of them, so if you like Dr. Sleep, Gerald's Game is also on Netflix. It's done by the same guy. But yeah, so when you're watching this movie, just realize that they had to fix a few things in order to, continue on with the sequel. But highly recommend. It is a super, super fun movie. So give it a go. Why don't ya? You knew it was coming, so don't act like you were surprised. You knew this had to be the next one, because duh. I love this movie. But this movie feels like it's so long. And it's not. It's not even that long of a movie. It's a normal length movie, but for some reason I feel like I have to devote a day to it because I think it's going to take me 6 hours. And it's not. But this movie has given so much inspiration to so many movies after its time. I mean, I don't even really need to talk about it that much. If you haven't seen it yet, you're probably not going to. But it's an amazing movie. Even though it's not, I wish it was more Stephen King's influence in the movie. Beggars can't be choosers, and that's fine. The only reason I'm putting it on the top 10 Stephen King, even though it doesn't have Stephen King's name on it, is because I can't have the sequel on here and not the original, and everybody associates it with Stephen King, so... But at least I know my stuff, so I'll take it. I'm not going to beat a dead horse. You know I like the movie. I spent 30 minutes talking about it. I think we could probably move on. But first, $2 Cup of Spirit Halloween water drink. Water. Okay. This is going to count as one entry because it is counted as one movie. In my opinion, I don't look at them as separate movies. Because this is a continuation. This is beautiful. I don't care what anybody says. Everybody's going to hate remakes no matter what. It's kind of the stigma. You're supposed to. You never You never remake an original. Da 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 da. Okay, we've seen several sequels or remakes or reboots flop hard. Okay, we had, what was that one? Oh, Nightmare on Elm Street. Yeah, that remake was rough. They actually did, well, you can call it a remake, I guess, or a reboot of The Shining. It's actually a TV show. I don't know if many people know about it. I've actually watched it. The only reason it's not on here is because it's a TV show, and I can't really, I don't know. I don't like, because that actually is a TV show. I actually enjoyed it better than the movie. Personally, I don't know. Personal opinions. But I'm okay with this remake. 100%. This is, I mean, it was the most successful horror movie. This is the only horror movie to ever beat The Exorcist, and that's a pretty big feat if you think about it. I mean, The Exorcist came out, what was late 70s? So, I mean, that's a long time. So, for people to really hate this movie so much, clearly not that many people hated it because it was extremely successful. And I got some news for you. Stephen King actually is going to, at least what I've read, is going to write a third novel just so they can, or a second novel, my bad, just so they can adapt it into a movie. So I'm excited about that. But yes. Now, do not let your children watch this with you if they're like super young, because the first one, yeah, you learned that real quick. All right, number 2. My favoriteest movie ever. Not really ever, but it's up there. I've seen this movie so many times. And I'll tell you, one of the biggest reasons I love this movie is because, I don't know if anybody remembers the show, The Munsters. Okay? But Herman Munster, and, oh, Lord, let me look up his name. I forgot his name. I feel so bad. Hey, I found my phone this time, so I'm pretty happy that this thing came in handy, because I would be looking all across my room for it. Herman Munster. What is his played by? Oh, Fred Gwynne? I think I'm saying it. If not, I'm sorry. Rest in peace, by the way. I love him. I used to watch The Munsters when I was little. I love The Munsters, so I loved Pet Sematary because his accent is kind of great. Sometimes dead is better. It's just funny. I love it. So this movie's great. The remake, once again, just rewind a little bit and we'll just highlight that sequel reboot area that we were talking about. Yeah, the remake sucked. It made me sleepy. That's the first time I've watched a movie in the movie theater, and it made me actually sleepy. So that was not good. I haven't even bought it and probably never will, because this movie means too much to me. Oh, I'm sorry, the glare is so bad. But yeah, I mean, it's a solid, good movie. The effects are good for its time. It flows very well. So definitely recommend. And if you haven't seen Pet Sematary, shame on you. And I'm upset with you. Deeply upset. I've wanted to name a cat Church for the past decade because of this movie. So thanks, Stephen King. Appreciate it. Alright. Now, if anybody's watching this and they know me, you already know what number 1's going to be. And if you're paying attention close enough, you can see some hints behind me. This is my favorite movie of all time. I get a lot of hate for this. I'm not going to lie. I love this movie because I love Tim Curry more than most things. And I grew up with this movie. I really did. So I have it 4 different times, I think. I have it on VHS. I have it on DVD 3 different times because I'm not going to lose this movie. I have to have it. It's technically considered, some people call it a miniseries. I don't consider it a miniseries. It is a made-for-television movie. It was just in 2 parts because I couldn't run it all at once. The thing is, Stephen King movies are long anyway, and so are the books. So Now, if we're going with shows in this mix, Rose Red would have made it on here super quick, because that is one of the best haunted house, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, we'll say the best haunted house, Rose Red. But no, number one of all time, Stephen King's It, 1990, starring Tim Curry and a couple other. I mean, it's got a really strong cast. I mean, you have John Ritter, Annette O'Toole, Richard Thomas, Harry Anderson, not including some of the kid actors. You had Seth Green. We had, Jonathan Brandis. Rest in peace. I actually really enjoy Jonathan Brandis and a lot of his movies, so I'm kind of upset that he's not with us anymore, but that's okay. So, I mean, you have very solid cast, and again, we all agree that the end is... But other than that, it's amazing, and I will love it forever. So, there we are. Those are my top 10 favorite Stephen King movies that are scary.